Welcome back to True Story with John Gibson. Today's guest is MMA legend Gray Maynard. Gray, thanks for coming back or coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
My pleasure, man. So first and foremost, kind of before we kind of go over some career and life highlights and stuff, I want to kind of ask what's going on now, man. How you feeling? How's your health? What's like a day in the life like right now?
Yeah. Health is great, probably better than it's ever been. My wife is a functional doctor, basically just got done with her master's school a little bit ago, passed her like board exams. And so as far as like nutrition and just health, she's got us all dialed in. Yeah. And it's been that way a long time. And, longevity and brain health and organ health and just a lot of different ways we stay healthy, and just being active. We moved to Michigan. We live on a 13-acre property right on the river.
Beautiful.
Got horses. We're active all the time. Wednesday, I'm actually going up to the it's called the UP.
The Upper Peninsula, it's a tough one.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a little bit of ice climbing up there, go climb. Yeah, Picture Rocks has like this, like waterfalls and stuff that, turn into ice. You get the pics and you climb the ice. Wow. Yeah. So we're super active, outdoors and live the good life.
Congratulations to your wife. That's not something that's very easily achieved. Takes a long time, ton of work. So congrats to her. And just the fact that you're cognizant of brain health in your body. I feel like you've always been in great shape. But, post MMA career, the fact that you're still this able-bodied and stuff is actually like pretty remarkable.
Yeah. No, we definitely keep active. We got a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old.
I get it.
And, want to keep up with them and keep pushing them to keep outdoors and
keeping active. I get it. Healthy life. Amazing. And to have the land and to be able to give that to your kids is such an awesome thing. So I wanted to transition a little and kind of tell you when I first heard about you. So like I grew up wrestling, cadet all the way through senior and all the way through the thing. So and we're about the same age. So with that, I remember hearing about this guy with this cool name. I don't know if I said it was cool at 15 or 16. This guy named Gray. I think Ohio is where maybe you won state or something. Ohio, right?
Yeah. So I won state in Nevada and I won it in Ohio.
Amazing. So which is crazy though, because all of a sudden you go to college at Michigan State and then you go and you tear there. And I want to talk about that for sure. But I guess let me first, how did you pick Michigan State? Let me start there.
Yeah, so I won state in Nevada. My dad actually grew up in Ohio, and he was a 2-time Ohio State champ there. He actually named me after a wrestler, Gray Simons, who was the coach at Old Dominion, went to Lock Haven, a couple-time NCAA champion. Anyways, after my 10th grade, my dad and me made a deal, if I win state and not even get taken down and grades are good, we'll talk about going back to Ohio to compete back there because, Ohio is probably, if not the best state, one of the best states.
That was it. It was there, Arizona or Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. Well, now it's New Jersey. New Jersey's really good. California, Ohio, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And, anyways, it was the #1 school in the nation, like back and forth with a couple different schools. And we made that deal and, I won state, kept my grades good. And he got me back out there.
Wow.
I went to live with my aunt and uncles and kind of jump around, houses. And my parents stayed back in Las Vegas and just drove my car out there and had about 2 years of just going all over the place. Anyways, the point being, there was a wrestler that came through my high school that actually got the assistant job at state, you know, and we connected and you know, ultimately chose to go to Michigan State between like ASU, U of M, you know, a couple different schools.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I don't think, you know, that's amazing to hear you detail it. And you know, I don't, you're like a natural born competitor. Even as a high schooler, you were ready to uproot your life and commit to that regime. And then college is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And people may not be aware of this, but you were Olympic ladder. You were a collegiate all-star, like legitimately, like 160 matches or something. Like it was like a pretty crazy record, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of wrestling. It was a lot of wrestling. I was a 3-time All-American.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately I didn't really meet my goals that I had in like high school going on to college. You know, and that's just you know, a lot of people would kill to be a 3-time All-American, but like, you know, for me, it was, you know, I wanted to be a 3-time champ. And, but, you know, and that's what drives us, right? I'm always looking for new goals and new ways to push myself and be uncomfortable. And you know, that's probably what got me going more into MMA, right? Maybe if I was a 3-time champ, you know, I might still be coaching in college, but you know, I wanted to keep competing and you know, worked on the Olympics in 2004,
right?
You know, and that was just a tough road, and you know, ended up moving back to Las Vegas and got going in MMA.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so and I remember reading years ago, again, because I was a fan for wrestling, so I really was kind of invested in your MMA journey as much as you could be back then. It was like message boards and it wasn't a lot of info out there. But I remember all of a sudden you were training at like Extreme Couture, and I was like, oh, that's good. Like that, I've heard of them. Randy Couture, this is great in Vegas, you know, and you're selling like real estate, doing really well, right? And then all of a sudden you're full-time MMA. And you were a tear. 11 fights later, it's like the Edgar fight. Like the trilogy begins, right?
Yeah.
It happened quickly. How did that happen?
I just kind of got going, you know, doing real estate. And that was before 08. So like everything was going crazy and you know, making this good money. And, you know, I worked for a guy who coached me in wrestling, like when I was a kid, so you know, making money, like it was great, you know. And I kind of get into the jiu-jitsu gyms, and I'm, you know, helping people train and you know, catching on to stuff real quick. There was a lot of Hawaiians in the gym, you know, and we're back. Like got back to BJ Penn, you know, and he called me up. He's like, hey, you want to help me? It was for like a Rodrigo Gracie fight in Japan. Flew down there for about 3 weeks, you know, kind of helped him train, learn more about, you know, MMA and you know, came home and basically, you know, talked to my boss. I was like, you know, I want to quit. I want to compete. And he's like, do it now. You know, if you're going to do it, you know, do it now. And basically quit a great paying job, like killing it, and going to MMA to where, you know, there was no money.
Yeah.
But, you know, got going in that and, you know, dove in and
a prime BJ Penn in his prime as your mentor. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, who would look at that and be like, "This is what I want to have"? Yeah.
And we clicked really well. Yeah, I didn't know who he was at the time.
Wow.
When he called me, right? He's like, "Hey, it was his brother. You know, BJ Penn wants you to come help him." I'm like, "Who's BJ Penn?" You know, but a free trip to Hawaii, great. But once I got down there, I kind of understood like MMA and who he was, and you know, he was a beast, and and when I came home, that's when I knew like I really wanted to do this, and ended up hooking up with Couture through one of my old coaches, and yeah,
wow,
got going with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, let's talk a little kind of about like kind of the UFC career, right? I mean, it's hard to like not talk about. As an MMA fan, we got our Gotti Ward experience from you and Edgar. I mean, those are historic. I cannot believe that, like, Forrest and Stefan is in the Hall of Fame. That fight, and your fights are not. Like, it's going to happen for sure.
Yeah,
it's got to happen. Man, how do you? Years later, how do you reconcile that? That is such a crazy thing, and all three of them are their own story. But man, two different, in my opinion. If you had a different ref in two of those fights, you won twice of the three. You got 2 TKO victories. And I love, Frankie, I all due respect. I'm not being disrespectful, but it could have gone with, another ref very different ways. And it's just mind boggling. They're historical fights, man. What was that?
Like? During the time we were just, competing against each other, and it wasn't really like bad blood. We just both wanted to win, and the way that he got through those like round ones and stuff, I mean, hats off, when we fought the first time, it was a 3-rounder, and I remember breaking my hand in round 1 and just getting this eye injury and pushing through it and grinding it out. And, the next one, he had to do that, and it was one of those, and a lot of people kind of look at him and it's like, wow, he got through that round 1, and round 1 was actually pretty tough on me too, because you like blow your whole wad, it's crazy. And like, I remember going back after round 1, like, I've never been this tired in my life. My God. And just going back and like, how am I going to answer like to round 2? But then you start getting that voice out of your head, and you believe in your training, and because we train pretty hard on the second fight, and then just coming back out and just ready to go,
But even the third fight, I rewatched all of them, and preparation for this, but even the third, Gray, you evolved so. I don't know shit. You evolved so much as a fighter. You held the middle. You had this amazing jab. You always had your powerful right, but you would even jump and do knees, some really athletic. You always avoided 9 out of 10 takedowns. Like, as a fighter, you were so prepared, and it was 5 rounds. So, and the first round in that fight, you put it on him. Like, the story of that journey, like, it always could have gone any way. And his resilience.
He was a beast. And
are you proud of yourself? Like, through all that? Like, I know, like, the outcomes, right, aren't what you wanted, but like, you had to know, like, you became this superhero, right?
I guess I'm proud of what we did, and I look back on it, and it's pretty cool. Like, when we talk, it's like, oh yeah, that was great. But my mentality is always like, what's next? Right? I'm kind of gearing up right now to like really learn like ice climbing and climb some crazy stuff, and just kind of opening up a gym and like competing. I don't know. I just have that mode of like, what's next? What can I do next to push myself and to get out of the comfort zones, and it's great that we did it, and I love it, but it's not like on my mind a lot.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But he's a beast, and I love the guy, and he's a great guy, and I'm just glad that people can enjoy it. you know, still.
Oh man. Again, as a fan, and I'm going to take the liberty to speak for all of us. You both gave us historic fights. I mean, we'll never, again, it's like Gotti Ward is what I compare it to. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The heart and everything. I mean, amazing story there. Outside of kind of that series, of course, you had an amazing career in MMA. And like, you were one of these guys that was always a contender too. You were always in the mix, like always in the mix. You know, do you have a fight that's a favorite fight or something that you're particularly like, God, maybe you were injured going into it, people didn't know, and you're like, I'm so proud of this one?
Yeah. You know, probably the time I beat Diaz was a good one. Jim Miller, you know, he was, you know, tough. I had just gotten a new boxing coach and wanted to do a little bit more striking. And it was a good one. You know, I mean, every fight kind of has its story, you know, and I mean, it's really hard to go into one without injuries and without struggle and with that, especially in the USA, like, you know, like, I got to pay bills. I got to win this one type thing. You know, I'm trying to buy a house. I got to win it, you know, and if people knew like the half of what fighters go through, you know, it's a lot of stories, which is cool.
What I've just learned through this show, you know, just through this, and I've been able to talk to people just like you know, and especially of your generation. I mean, I don't even want to go listing names, but just from what I've learned as a fan, it's crazy. And it was you guys, like, it's such a shame that the sacrifices you gave to us as fans, you know, and the contracts were so limiting, you know, and with Fight Pass, you're not able to use your likenesses and these things and profit years later. And that's not right, you know, and, you know, it's sad to me. And, you know, and there's some guys like you that can ice climb, and that's fucking amazing. That's awesome. But like, not everyone's that healthy, you know, and like, that sucks, you know. I want them to be taken care of. Like, I really want that for them.
No, it's going to be scary, and you know, we're going to be coming into a pandemic of our own, you know, as like an MMA sport. Is a lot of guys that they just can't, you know, that's all they know is like how to train, how to compete, how to fight. You know, and then you talk about the injuries and the brain health afterwards. You know, I'm lucky, you know, I got a great wife and we're on top of that stuff, and we work, you know, every day on it. And but like, you know, these guys that are going to be coming out of the sport, it's already happening, you know, beginning stages of dementia, like people lives are like ruined for no money. You know, I mean, everybody's just making ends meet, you know, and it's, there's a small percentage who are getting, you know, paid really well. And, you know, in the whole scheme of things, it's not that well when you look at their whole lifetime that they need to keep that, you know.
And there's so many things that I think should change for sure, but just the whole win bonus, you know, is insane to me. How about you pay them this amount of money? Like, of course, everyone shows up to win. 50% someone's gonna lose. This is like, that doesn't make any sense, you know. And you're gonna 100% walk out of that cage injured. There's no way you're coming out of it the same man. It's crazy, you know.
You know, and you know, the way I look at it, it's kind of like when the NFL started. But you know, the NFL was like, how many years ago did that start? Like
60s,
70. I mean, that's, you know, and they just really got to do what they want because it went under the radar, and you know, nobody really, you know, they bought it because there was no rules, you know. And when you make the rules, then, you know, you make some pretty unfair rules. It's just human nature.
And protect your interests.
And you think you deserve everything, and so no, it would have been nice to like walk away and kind of feel completed, but after I walked away, you know, it was kind of like, you know, I'm done. This is great. I don't have to deal with that anymore. But then I started running into Spencer Fisher, who's dealing with like beginning stages of dementia. You know, coaching a couple guys who were having a baby like that month and barely got any money and lost. Like, it's just, it's mind blowing. And for me to just keep digging my head in the sand and, you know, not popping it up to speak up, you know, I was doing the fighters just a disservice. You know, ultimately, like, I'm done. And either way, like, we have a lot of stuff going on, and we got gym opening up, coffee shops, and life is great, right? Had a great time doing it. Move on. But there's people that can't do that. You know, they can't move on. They don't have the ability. They don't have the brain capacity or whatever it is. And, you know, it's not fair. And, you know, ultimately, like, I don't want to get back into that stuff and talk and speak up about it. But, you know, I kind of feel obligated to the people who I bled with, the people who I sweat with, have tears with, you know, like, we gotta make some changes. And I'm not saying like promoters have no rights. Like, it's got to be even, you know, and you know, like Dana and the Fertitas did start up a great promotion, and they did put a lot of money into it, but, you know, like, times have changed, and they changed a long time ago, and they didn't help like us, you know, get better as well. They used us to get them better, and
no, well said, super well said, and I think it was very objective too. I mean, they took on the risk, and guess it sold, it went public, and they made billions of dollars as a result of their risk. But with that uniformity, and now it is as mainstream as it comes. It's on ESPN, as mainstream as it comes as a sport, and now they have a uniform and all of these things. It's evolved,
and making money off all of that, you know. Like, making money from every which way, every angle, and, you know, there's no larger piece of the pie for the people going, you know, to compete, and you know, so
no.
But a lot of that stuff is going to be, it's going to come out more and more. You know, like, people are tired of it, and, you know, I'm just kind of adding in 2 cents to help people navigate, right? Because the least I can do is tell about my career to help maybe a fighter say, like, you know what, maybe I can change my path up by knowing what happened with Gray, you know, and hopefully, you know, that can happen. And, you know, if I help one guy, one girl, you know, great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I mean, you trailed a path. You were a perpetual title contender, man. You could have. I mean, you're a historical figure. Like, you're there, man. So for sure, for you to be able to take a leadership perspective and help, like, another fighter along the way, awesome, totally awesome. Yeah. So, you know, post MMA and ice, you know, ice climbing and stuff. You know, what's other interests? Other than that.
Well, you know, like, ice climbing, this is my first attempt, right? You know, done a lot of rock climbing and a lot of mountaineering, and like, that always kind of interests me. And we moved back here, and, you know, it's snowy, and it's like, you know, I got to have activities. And so the snow kind of picked back up skiing and snowboarding, but you know, I need a little bit of adventure with a little bit of risk in it. So I got to do some hiking. Cool. Yeah, that's what makes me get up every day. You know, that and my kids.
Man, enjoy it. You deserve it. Yeah, that's great, man. Great. Thank you again, man. Good luck with the gym opening up as well, you know? If people want to reach out, fighters, just anyone, any kind of general questions, do you direct them to kind of like Instagram, Facebook, or do you have a website or anything?
Yeah, we go to, we're doing Instagram, we're doing Twitter and all that. The gym will probably be opened up in a couple months. There'll be a coffee shop in there, smoothies. Nice. We're big into that. And it's going to be a lot of kickboxing, grappling, wrestling, you know, just too much knowledge to not pass it down, you know, as much as I can, and promote health and so probably in a couple months, but you know, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I try to check those. I'm terrible at it, but you know, but I'll do it.
One more question before I let you go. You know, I love just following you again on Instagram, your relationship with your dad and like wrestling and everything is special to me. Do you think if your kids show interest, do you think that you're going to like kind of coach them wrestling, things like that?
Oh yeah, of course. You know, I already have my daughter, you know, I'm helping coach my nephew, a bit, and you know, I take my daughter up there and competes a little bit and just kind of wrestles. My son, he really likes wrestling. He's just 4 years old, and you know, I'm a little bit more of, at that age, like I really like gymnastics.
Okay.
I really like rock climbing because it really helps them to coordinate their hands, their feet, and put that connection, right? And then also kind of overcome a little bit of a confidence deal once you're going up that wall, and you know, like just getting kids to grow without that specialization at like 4 years old, right? Like, oh no, he's just gonna wrestle and that's it. No, like I want him to develop and just become an athlete and become a well-rounded human being and functional movements and so
it just blew my mind. My son will be 4 in 2 months, and I'm like, wow, he's right. Gymnastics, rock climbing. I'm like,
gymnastics. Yeah, if you go to Russia, that's what everybody starts in, right? All the Olympic athletes start in gymnastics because it's very, you know, it really puts that connection of your head to your hands to your feet, you know, and just playing like small stuff when they're about 5 to 7, right? Start catching a ball, right? That helps their, you know, that's when they're really like apt to hand-eye coordination. And you know, rock climbing, I mean, it's just kind of underestimated because a lot of people don't know about it or have that access to it. But it really, how many pull-ups does a kid do when he's climbing, right? A tree or whatever it is, you know? I mean, just as a kid, like I remember climbing any tree, every tree, whatever tree I could climb, you know, but you think about it and that equals like pull-ups, that equals like step up, that equals just so many stuff. And we go to a little rock climbing gym and it helps with confidence, kind of looking down like, oh my God, I'm pretty high up here.
So, I never thought about that, but looking down, feeling scared, but overcoming that and then building confidence. What a cool way to do that. Like, in a low risk way, you know, like, exactly.
You know, and then you add the nutrition on to help the kid develop, you know, the brain food and you know, helping the organs grow and the muscles grow. And it really is interesting to me to watch growth. And how to make and how to maximize it.
You and your wife are making like these little Olympians, man. This is going to be interesting.
I mean, that's up to them. You know, I'm not really like, my dad didn't push me, but he let me, like, he really taught me how to love the sport. And you know, like we really talked about the history of the sport and just, you know, talked more than actually did it, you know, but it was me doing it. Like I wanted more. I wanted to do it.
Right.
And yeah, I mean that's all
that's
I
the
could
perfect
do.
recipe when you you know you have the tools and nurturing, but the child has the desire. You have to have all three pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to flame it though a little bit, you know, and that's what he did. Is he really fueled it to become a burning desire.
Yeah.
And
well, he he named you after what, Gray Simon, you said. So, so he put you on a sort of a path.
Right?
I love it, man. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. That's great, man. Thank you again. You know, this was absolutely my pleasure to get a chance to talk to you and learn a little bit more about kind of your
story. It was awesome. It was great.
Man, thanks, Gray. Again, true story with Gray Maynard. Thank you again, Gray.
Yeah.